I shake your corpse in my jaws. My claws bathe in your blood. This wolf will howl again.
Are you ready to kick it old school?
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Esports Money, ZSM, Mac10, whatever you want to call me, and welcome to my guide to jungling Lycan in patch 7.06F. If you haven't been following me for long, then you won't know. But if you have been following me for a while, then Lycan is by far and away my favorite hero. It's why you guys got the cool introduction. I stuck doing that for a lot of my videos, but this is a hero that I love. You will not see stuff over-edited during the actual guide because I don't do that with Lycan. I don't want to slow things down. I want to talk about what I'm thinking as I'm doing it because I want this to be as detailed as possible. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get to your Iron Town. You're going to fight your dude for the starting bounty rune. If you get that starting bounty rune, you're going to immediately buy a Stout Shield and have it shipped out to you. If you do not get the starting bounty, then you're going to buy a pack of Tangos and have the Courier ship that out to you instead. But I got the bounty rune, so I'll go ahead and get the shield. I'm going to go ahead and cut down this tree right here. I'm going to choke point jungle this at level 1 using a point in my passive. At level 2 I will get my wolves, at level 3 I'll get my wolves, at level 4 I'll get another point in passive, at level 5 I'll get the wolves again. If I am very, very low on mana, at level 3 I will get another point, which I shouldn't be, but if I am, for whatever reason, I'll get another point in my passive. However, you do not get more than 2 points in the passive before level 7. And I'm already getting distracted, but whatever, here we go. Gonna go ahead and queue up the Vlads. Why Vlads? Why are we trying to fix what isn't broken? There's so many different ways to play the hero, but if you're trying to play him as a rat, Vlads is still very, very good. I'm also gonna want a Blightstone because minus armor is good because you like hitting buildings, and this works on buildings. And stack. Stack works. Now I have a Stout Shield, so I don't really care about the attacks from the little dudes. First item I will buy is Ring of Regen, and if you're going to play safe, which I'll probably do for this video, I'm going to go ahead and build that into a headdress before anything else. I might actually not play safe. If you're not playing safe, then you'll get the Ring of Regen, then you'll get the Basilius Ring of Protection combo next. And the reason that's nice is because you'll have extra mana for wolves, but since we're not using the wolves at level 1, we do have a little bit of extra mana. Also, because we're not using the wolves at level 1, this will allow us to leave the base and help contest with the bounty rune, rather than just sit there like you kind of always do. This guide is kind of unique for a lot of reasons. One being that with a lot of junglers, or with jungling Lycan in the past, you've been focused on either dealing damage with the hero and tanking with the wolves, or the other way around. In this guide, we're going to be using the wolves to do a little bit of auxiliary damage and take a little bit of auxiliary do a little bit of auxiliary damage and take a little bit of auxiliary damage. However, we're mostly relying on the hero, as you can tell based on the emphasis on the passives. I will let the wolf die here because he's not very easy to micro in this choke point, and you guys know how much I enjoy microing Lycan, so take my word for it, it's not worth it. It can be good, but the problem is when you get close to stacking times, which we are encroaching upon the minute mark, it's difficult to be able to continue to do damage and micro your wolves during the stacking time. And I shouldn't have actually killed that little golem, but should be fine. Because the aggro for golems is actually a little bit weird. Now, as far as using the Courier goes, you do want to keep that to a minimum if you can help it. so I'm not going to just get my Ring of Protection sent out to me immediately. Also, it's going to bring me up to 7 armor from 5, so I already have a decent amount of armor. So I'm going to wait until I have the gold for the full Basilius and send it out again. After that, your teammates can stop bitching and you can just lay off the Courier. I prefer not to suicide or make a full walk back to base this patch because it's just not as good as it used to be. You have a pretty solid spike at level 4 in terms of power because you... I'm not going to bother stacking this camp. You get a pretty solid spike in power at level 4 because you get the extra point and you get 4 regen instead of 1 from your passive, which is very nice for your tankiness. And by level 4 you should have grown up a little bit, unlike me, and have been able to keep both of your wolves alive. The armor aura from your wolves is also nice. Misclick. That's gonna hurt. But I have my choke point here, so I'm not as concerned about it. And now level 4, so I have the awesome regen, and I have a lot more mana regen now, so I'm pretty safe at this point. You can use the shrine if your mid lane wants you to. If I get into a position in this guide where I'm pretty low, I'll go ahead and grab it, but you should be waiting for your mid to ping it out. But remember, the shrine doesn't become active until 5 minutes in, so it's not that big of a deal either way you slice it. Also, notice that the Blightstone is queued up, but I will not be buying that until after I have my Bloods. With these guys, with the amount of damage that the little skeleton minions that the troll summons, I prefer to kill the big troll first, even though it is an extra 18 gold. It does depend a little bit though. Like if I go for a long, if I feel very safe, then I will kill one of the small trolls first. I should have microed my wolves there, but I will kill the small troll first. But normally I do not, because I don't want to take a risk. Not necessarily taking hero damage, but I need to be able to focus on microing my wolves so they don't take unnecessary damage from the little troll skeletons, which, again, do a very large amount of damage for what they're worth. Notice my wolves are getting kind of low here, so I'll let them tank a little bit of damage for me. You know, you can kind of entirely ignore the satyr damage if you have a stout shield, and the reason being is because with the stout shield's damage block combined with your regen, they actually do virtually no damage, like almost nothing at all. So not even worth paying attention to. I am going to choke point this guy for a minute, and then hold my wolves. Another thing is that my big boy guide, my original big Lycan guide, was released in 2014 in the spring, and since then players are a lot better. They're going to realize you're jungling and they're going to try to come and hurt you. You might have noticed that I'm not playing as aggressive. I'm okay with my items coming a couple minutes later, because if I add a minute and a half to all of my item timings because I was jungling more conservatively, it's still going to be better than if I... my timings will still be better than if I died, and if I die, I give gold to the enemy. And I do not want their supports to have money into the early and mid-game, if I can help it. Alright, now I'm actually going to micro my wolves and dodge. And if you can't hear my keyboard, yes, I'm not narrating this, I'm playing it live. And I'm going to hold my Iron Talon there for my next camp. I've reached a point now where I'm tanky enough where I can just tank all of the damage for my wolves. Pretty much all the time. And I'm jungling fast enough now that the limiting factor here is how quickly I can move around between camps and kill them. So I'm feeling very safe here, even though I'm not level 6, I'm about to be. And I have pretty good mana regen with the Basilius, so I will be able to shapeshift if someone jumps me. However, that won't be true in a moment because I will summon wolves again. But notice how I haven't used the shrine yet, and I'm still pretty solid on mana the whole way through, and very solid on health. I could have held my wolves until level 7, but I know I still have the shrine available, so I'm going to go ahead and summon them now because it will translate into a little bit more gold. I'm now going to move towards the shrine, and in the process of moving towards the shrine, I'm going to do my best not to block this spawn. This is a pretty awkward spawn box, so... yeah. And now I'm going to go over and grab the... sorry, I meant to say bounty, not move towards the shrine. I'm going to grab the bounty and then kill this camp again. I have grabbed every bounty rune, but you should be able to grab most of them because you're Lycan in the jungle. You're pretty tanky, you're pretty hard to kill, and you're going to be near the bounty rune a lot if your jungle is open. Alright, now I have Vlad's, and I'm almost level 7. And we are not quite at 9 minutes yet. I typically like to get my Vlad's by 8 minutes. This isn't perfect. It's pretty okay. It's okay. It's not bad. Typically I like to get my Vlad's at around 8 minutes. The problem is my experience is a little bit lagging. So, as you can see, I'm like teetering right on the edge of hitting level 7. I am 28 EXP away. So now I'm level 7. Gonna go over and start killing Ancients now. 3, 4, 5. Summon. Okay, this is a very good camp. You do not... You really just need to pray to the RNG god that you don't have the new camp, the one with the crazy regen and the minus armor. But if you do, no big deal if you deal with it. I bought my Blightstone for the minus armor, but I'm not going to be going for Deso, at least not initially. Maybe in the late game I'll grab a Deso for additional minus armor and backdoor potential. I'm going to swing around this way, which is a little bit longer. I'm trying to play this out pretty conservatively for the sake of the video. But I'm going to swing over to this camp. I'm going to try to kill this camp before respawn, and then kill it a second time, then move back over to the other Ancient camp. So this guy will do a lot of AoE damage. He does root me instead of the hero, or instead of the wolves. And I'll probably lose my wolves here, but they're low in duration, so I'm okay with that. The problem this does set, though, is that if both of my wolves die before I can kill the camp, then I won't have enough time to kill it before the next one spawns, but I can just stack it, which I will have to do. 9 stack. Another thing that's very important, if you stack like I just did, hopefully, I don't think I missed the stack there. If you stack like I just did, and you have one of those small creeps, one of the small, whatever those new dragon spawn things are called, if you have one of those alive, then you need to kill that first when you re-engage, because it gives a +10 regen aura to everything. The aura actually comes from that from the small units. The big one might have one, I actually don't know, but I know the little ones give a +10 aura, a +10 HP per second aura, so you're going to take a lot longer to kill the other units if that's up, especially if it's golems. They're super tanky if you have that up. And because I let my wolves die there, I'm being punished for it, and I've got to go take the long way around. I'm actually just going to go over here and kill a... I'm not even going to kill it. I'm going to go and wait for this to respawn and then run over to the Ancients, because the Ancients give so much more gold than the hard and medium camps that it's not worth me taking a break from them. In a real match, we got the bad camp again. And rooted me again, but whatever. I've got mana to resummon this time, and I'm level 8, so I do a bit more damage. And with the minus armor, I'm tearing through them pretty quickly. Again, if someone tries to stop you, you can ult them and then just run at them. And you can rotate mid. So I'm really trying to make this guide, like, I wouldn't say look worse than it is, but I don't want to soak up a shitload of experience and money from the mid lane, because I'm trying to show this purely in terms of what you can count on, and you can almost always count on your Ancients. Is it gonna root one? Do it. Do it. The fade time is actually too short. It's like the fade time being so short in these wolves is actually hurting me right now, because it means that it means that it can't actually root them, which means it's gonna save the root for my hero. I think I messed up. I did mess up, but it's fine. It's whatever. Okay. So I'm gonna go over here and kill this camp again. You're basically bouncing back and forth between Ancients, and then we're gonna start working on a Necro book once we have our completed treads. And ideally, I mean, level 9 at 12 minutes is pretty good. It's not the best. Back in the day, the goal was basically to kill Roshan and then go back to killing Ancients until you were done. Until you were done with your Necro book, at least level 1 or 2. Nowadays, it's a little bit more varied because of the fact that you can't really kill Rosh anymore. I'm going to go ahead and ulti here. I should have actually waited until I had treads, because I would have been able to toggle and get a little bit more mana out of it. Go over and kill this. Farming ult is totally fine. In your games, you can still do the old-fashioned farming ult, but be a little bit more careful with it, because the cooldown is much longer than it was in the spring of 2013. You have 120 seconds level 1, 90 seconds level 2, and 60 seconds level 3. which brings me to the next topic of this video, talent. So skill build's pretty straightforward. I'm going to max out my passive. I don't like to rely on Howl, and I don't think you should rely on Howl either. Specifically because if you rely on Howl now, you're going to have a bad time in the next patch, because the way that Lycan is typically balanced is around Howl, because I think Ice Frog's afraid to nerf or buff the Wolves any further. So if he gets a nerf, it will probably be around the Howl. And I think Lycan might be getting a teeny tiny nerf. I don't know. I think he's really underrated right now. So at level 10, I'm typically going to get the 15 damage. At level 15, I'm pretty much always going to go for the regen, because it's really, really, really good. That's a lot of regen, and even though I'm not going armlet, that's still a crazy amount of bonus regen, and it's really good on my wolves. Like, you might think it is redundant, and it is a little bit redundant with the amount of lifesteal they have, but it makes everything easier to have more and more regen, and the alternative is 12 strength, which you're basically only going to be getting for the damage. I mean, it's a little bit of health, it's a couple hundred, but I wish these bots would just leave me alone. Yeah, I'm gonna go ping tops and go leave. So we're at 14 minutes now, and we're getting pretty close to Necrobook. I am gonna switch over to farming mid. And you can easily knock down this tower. This guide's actually getting a little bit wonky because the bots seem to just want to follow me around. Maybe they'll leave if I ping stuff out. Actually, I'm going to move these guys over here. Okay. Thank you, bot. Alright, whatever. So, anyway, you guys get the idea. It's pretty similar to what it is before, but as you can see, I'm 15 minutes in right now, and I don't have Necro 1 yet. The Necro timings have been pushed back a little bit, especially if you're AFK farming. This is actually a little bit, I would say maybe a minute and a half, minute and 45 worse than I would expect in a typical game, because in a typical game I'm going to be soaking up a lot of stuff from mid, and I did in this game. Also, these bots are following me around, which is really, really, really annoying. I typically use bot matches because then I don't have to remember to type in the get courier stuff. But, I mean, in a real game, people might be following you. Your teammates might follow you around in the jungle anyway, because your teammates are always your biggest hindrance. They're your biggest friends and your biggest enemy. So, I just really want these bots to leave me alone. I wish I could just remove them from the game now. But anyway, I am... How much gold do I need? So, I typically will buy the Staff of Wizardry, send the Staff of Wizardry to my inventory, and then wait until I have the Necrobook, and then if I'm about to die, I'll buy out and get the Belt of Strength instead. So, 16 minutes, we're pretty close to a Necro 1, but typically, back in the day, I would expect 16:30 to be the time I get my Necro 1. Nowadays, it's more like 18:30 or 19, and you're shooting for about 22.5 to 23, 24 minutes. Really, 22.5 is like what you're trying to get your Necro 3 at, and then from there you build into Assault Cuirass. However, due to the flow of the game and the way things have changed over the last year, you are expected to be more available around the map, and you need to be more available around the map. You need to help your team get Roche if they want it, but way more importantly, you need to prevent the enemy team from getting Roche if the enemy's trying to get Roche. Lycan is a little bit more concerned with the actions of the other team this time around than he was before. Also, kills are way more important than they were in the spring of 2014 compared to farming. So if your team is getting absolutely destroyed, you need to get involved earlier, because it's harder for you to make that up by AFK farming. As far as talents go, I'm almost always going to get the HP regen because it's just so heavy. The damage is also, I like the 15 damage. 200 health is also pretty good. It doesn't matter too much which way you go here, but I typically prefer the damage, though I do think 200 health scales slightly better. At level 20, universal 15% cooldown reduction, pretty much always. Almost always. I can't think of a situation where I don't want that talent. And then at level 25, the +2 Wolves Summon is really, really fun. But the plus 15 shapeshifts duration is usually better, even if you're playing Lycan. That being said, if I'm going for Lycan, like a good game that I'm just going to win by ratting, I'm going to go for Shapeshift. If I'm doing a bullshit, old school, what you guys probably remember me doing and probably love, that backdoor stuff, where I TP to a tier 3 that is exposed but has backdoor protection, and I've got a Blightstone or a Deso if I've got it by now, Necro 3, Vlad's, and an Assault Cuirass, stacking minus armor, I want the 2 extra wolves. So when I hit level 25, it's a little bit of a debate there. If there's a chance that if it looks like the game might come down to a fight, I'm gonna go with the Shapeshift duration. If it doesn't, then I'm gonna go with the Wolf Summon. But remember, we've already taken a 15% cooldown reduction talent, so we're going to be able to summon these guys more often, and we're going to be very close to permanently wolf form. So that brings up our wolf duration from 18 seconds to 23:33, so it's almost doubling our Shapeshift duration time, and the cooldown is minus 15%. And 15% of 60, I think it's like 15% of 60, so 1/5 of 60 would be 12. So it's like, I think it brings down to 50 seconds, 40 some seconds, I think it's like upper 40 seconds, I forget exactly, but it's very, very low. You will feel like you are always in Shapeshift form, and your enemies will hate playing against it. So prefer to go for the Shapeshift. Once in a blue moon, I'll go with the +2 wolves just to be a backdoor rat. 15% cooldown reduction, don't ask questions, just get it. It's just better. Level 15, that's a little bit more at your discretion, but I prefer the HP regen because I want my wolves to live as long as possible. Even when they've got their own base regen of +10 and they have the lifesteal from the Vlads, I still want it. But if you're going Vlads, like me, you go kicking it old school, you have more of a reason to pick +12 strength because they're already going to be healing pretty quickly because they have the regen plus the right-click damage. And then lastly, the very first talent that you get, I prefer to go for the damage because I'm a rat, but +200 health is good, and since your ulti doesn't give you health anymore, it can help you survive situations which you might not survive. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the intro, and yeah, this is a long guide. This is not something that I just threw together willy-nilly. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this content, if you appreciated this, please hit those like and subscribe buttons.